Hello everybody and welcome back to another EDH gameplay here on this channel. Before we get into today's gameplay, I want to make a quick shout out to Kaiju Cards in Trier, Germany for providing a great place for us where we can play our TCGs. I have built Wayta Trainer Prodigy from the Dinosaur Ixalan precon and I'm looking forward to getting a few Enrage triggers. Anton is back and has brought his Omnath Locus of Rage deck, which is clear from the commander that he's playing around a landfall strategy to overwhelm us with a bunch of elementals. Christopher has done some more upgrades to his Admiral Brass Unsinkable deck and is looking forward to dragging us all down into the ocean. Timon is back to the channel and has brought his Teysa Ores of Scion deck, which is one of his favorite decks, which wants to win with a few sacrifice loops. And then I would say let's jump right into the gameplay. Anton starts us off and draws for turn. He plays a Terramorphic Expanse, cracks it and finds a basic. Christopher draws for his turn, also plays a Terramorphic Expanse, cracks it and finds a basic. Timon draws for his turn, he plays a land and goes into a turn 1 as per Sentinel. He passes the turn. I draw for my turn, I play a reveal land, revealing the land and passing the turn. Anton untaps and draws. He plays a Kasagaran brick and taps 2 for a Rampant Growth. Timon draws for Esper Sentinel and Anton passes the turn. Christopher untaps, draws, he plays a land, taps 2 and casts a Warkite Marauder. He passes the turn. Timon untaps and draws, he plays a land and passes the turn. I draw for my turn, I play a Plains, I tap 2 and casts an Arcane Signet. Timon draws for Esper Sentinel and I pass the turn. Anton untaps and draws, he plays a land and he taps 4, paying for Esper, casting Nissa's Pilgrimage. He finds more forests and passes the turn. Christopher untaps, he draws, he plays a reveal land, revealing an island. He taps 2 mana to cast Francisco Fall Marauder. He moves to combat and he attacks Timon with his Warkite Marauder. He takes 2, so he explores a land into his hand. Timon flashes in a Kafar Commando and in his end step I Reckless Rage Esper Sentinel. It resolves and Timon moves to his turn. He untaps and draws, plays a land, taps 2 to cast an Arcane Signet, plays a Lotus Petal. He moves to combat and attacks Christopher for free. Christopher takes it and Timon passes the turn. I untap and draw. I tap 2 mana to cast a Farseek. In response, Timon taps 3 mana and he casts an Opposition Agent. Searches my library for planes. Then I play a bounce land as land for turn and pass the turn. Anton untaps and draws, he plays a land and he taps a total of 3 mana to cast Crucible of Worlds. He passes the turn and Christopher untaps. He draws, he plays a Foreboding Ruins, revealing a swamp. He taps 4 mana to cast a Roaming Throne. After that he moves to combat and he attacks Timon for 2 in the air. He takes it and he has 2 explore triggers from Francisco. He finds a land to his hand and he finds a Blasphemous Act which he leaves on top. Timon untaps, he draws for his turn. He plays my plains. He taps 3 mana to cast his commander, Teysa, Ores of Scion. He taps 2 more mana to cast an Altar of Dementia. Afterwards he moves to combat and Opposition Agent and Kafar Commando attack me and Anton, so we both take 3. Afterwards he passes the turn, so I untap and draw. I play a forest, I tap 4 mana to cast Ripjaw Raptor. Afterwards I cast Savage Storm targeting my Raptor and Opposition Agent, and in response Timon sacrifices his Opposition Agent into Altar of Dementia and mills Christopher. This way Timon creates a White Spirit and afterwards I pass the turn. Anton untaps and draws for his turn. He plays a Terramorphic Expanse from his graveyard and he taps a total of 7 mana due to Kasagaran brick to cast Nyxbloom Ancient. Afterwards he passes the turn. Christopher untaps, he draws for his turn, he plays a land and he taps a total of 5 mana to cast his commander Admiral Brass Unsinkable. He always has 2 triggers due to the Roaming Throne, so he mills 4 cards twice. In his first mill he mills a Hostage Taker, and in his second one he mills an Admiral Brass Bracket. Afterwards he moves to combat and gets 2 triggers, and his hostage taker takes Nyxbloom Ancient and my Ripjaw Raptor. And then he moves to declare attacks, and Warkite Marauder and Francisco attack me. The Roaming Throne attacks Anton, and Admiral Beckett Brass and Hostage Taker attack Timon. Timon blocks with one of his spirits and we all take our damage. Afterwards he has a total of 6 explore triggers with Francisco. We help him with his explore triggers, but he mills all of the cards that he hits and always puts +1/+1 counters on his Francisco. His last hit is a land, which he takes to his hand, and then he passes the turn. Timon untaps, draws for his turn, he plays a land for turn, he taps 2 mana to cast Diabolic Intent, sacrificing his Cathar Commando. He searches his library for a card, and in response Anton also sacrifices his Terramorphic Expense. He taps 2 more mana to cast Animate Dead, bringing back his Esper Sentinel. He taps 2 more mana to cast Painter's Servant, naming black as it enters. Now he sacrifices his Esper Sentinel into Altar of Dementia and will start milling us out because Teysa sees a black and white creature dying, which creates another white spirit which is also black in addition to its other types. And this is how Timon presents a loop of milling us all out, and due to the fact that nobody of us has any response, he wins the game. Alright everybody, this was the fastest gameplay that we have ever had on this channel so far. And when it comes to the card of the game, I definitely need to point out Opposition Agent. Timon holding up 3 mana and waiting for the correct timing to flash in Opposition Agent to avoid me from searching my library for an additional land, and also shutting down Anton's deck mostly completely, definitely interrupted our game plan. Alright everybody, I hope that you enjoyed this episode of our EDH gameplay here. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about it, and then I would say see you in the next one. Goodbye guys.